Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of The Cider Drinker. And it's time for the big one. I've been putting this off for a long time now, but it is finally time to review the powerhouse that is Strongbow. Now, if you've not heard of Strongbow before, where the bloody hell have you been? Because this is probably the most recognisable cider out there. Up there with Bulmers and Magners, that is for sure. It is quite easily one of the most mass-marketed and readily available ciders out there. And I'm not actually going to pretend that I've not had this before. I have. In fact, I think pretty much everyone in the entire world has, that or thereabouts. But I haven't actually had a crack at this for a fair few months. So, how does Strongbow actually taste for the uninitiated or for those that don't like ciders? We will be finding out, but until then, let me give you some details on Strongbow.
Strongbow comes in, well, pretty much anything really. In fact, the list is so great it won't even fit on this screen, so I'll have to list it after the description. The alcohol percentage is 5.3%, so it's actually not a typical cider strength. It's a dry cider according to the can, and the price varies so much that I can't even really give you an average price. All I can say to you is do your shopping about, because you can pretty much get this anywhere and try and find the cheapest price. Although, to be honest, if you're going to pay upwards of £1.50 for a single can, then you might want to look elsewhere.
Now, as I said, the list of ways you can get this cider is just astronomical. In fact, as I said, it is probably the most readily available cider out there. You can find it in pretty much any supermarket, any corner shop, in fact pretty much anywhere that stocks alcohol really. You can get it in these 440ml cans, you can also get it in pint cans, you can get it in 330ml glass bottles, 500ml glass bottles, pint glass bottles, you can also get it in 2-litre plastic bottles too, and you can also, I think you can also get it in 1-litre plastic bottles as well. And if that doesn't tickle your fancy, you can also get it on tap in pretty much any pub across the country as well. Whew! In fact, I'd say it's definitely a lot more readily available than the other mass-marketed ciders out there like Bulmers and Magners, because you can only really get them in certain cans, like pint bottles, and on tap, whereas this one's just across the board. You can get it pretty much, if you can think of a storage system for alcohol and cider, you can pretty much get it for Strongbow. That is it. So, anyway, as for the can, well, it's going for yellow and black, which usually means steer clear of it. As I said, I think it was Tesco low alcohol cider. Usually if you see yellow and black on something, you think, hold on, this is a bit dangerous, steer clear of it. Strongbow, serve extra cold, and it's got, oh, there we go, that's another interesting thing, HP Bulmer. So this is actually a byproduct of the Bulmers Cider Company, and as you know, I've done quite a few ciders from theirs before, since 1887, so they've been around for quite a while, the old Bulmers Company. Strangely enough, the website for Strongbow is not strongbow.com, it's bowtime.com. Very strange. Made with bittersweet cider apples for cool, crisp refreshment. So right there you can pretty much tell it's an industrially made cider anyway. But to reaffirm this, it also says dry cider with sugars and sweetener. Now that's a kind of an oxymoron, isn't it? How can you have a dry cider with sugar and sweeteners? Doesn't that just kind of counteract everything and make it a medium cider? Oh well, you never know. It contains sulfites for freshness. That's pretty much the only thing that's guaranteed in almost every cider. And it's got the old no pregnant women allowed thing there. As for anything else, there really is nothing else in this can. So, here we go. It's time to do Strongbow. Right, how does it smell? Like gnat's piss. No, it just, I hate to say it has a Strongbow smell. It's kind of, it just has a pissy sort of smell. Like whenever you walk through like an underpass or a subway or something, you get that real smell of stale piss. That's what you get from this. maybe a very slight hint of apples, but it's very, very thin on the ground. Well, that, and you can also smell the sugars as well. Ugh. And also a very metallic sort of taste, sort of smell, but that might be because it's from a can. But who knows? I think you can actually get that, you know, on the tap or in the bottle as well. So, yeah, smell is not very good. So let's go and get this in the glass. I don't think it's going to be any surprise to you guys, but there's going to be no natural sediment in this. So I'm just going to whack it in. And there we go, there's the old colour for you. Yeah, if you could get a typical cider colour, this would be it. Yeah, I can't really say much else about it because it is just a typical cider colour. It's, yeah, got the hell if I could speak. It's got no real redeeming characteristics of it. What I will say is it is lightly sparkling. You're not actually getting hefty bubbles off of it, which is a little bit surprising. But there we go. Let's go and get a whiff in the glass. You can smell the sugar that they've put into it, definitely. And yet it does kind of seem to contain a slight hint of dryness too. But overall it's just kind of a bland sort of smell. There's nothing really like popping out at me and saying, wow, you know, check me out. There is still that real pissy sort of smell to it though, like if I really get my nozzle up to it. Yeah, there's, I mean, you can kind of smell the apples in it, but it's very, very artificial. Obviously, you know, you're not going to get any real apples in this. As it says, it's with bittersweet apples, so, you know, just like one apple's probably gone into this one can, and the rest is just concentrated apple juice, which is pretty much what you're getting. Anyway, time to go in for the taste test. So, how will the giant and behemoth that is Strongbow hold up against the others? Let's find out. Cheers guys, bombs up. Ugh. Yeah, now I know why I don't drink Strongbow anymore. It's not that good, guys. I'm gonna be brutally honest with you. It doesn't taste good. Admittedly, the thing that it does right is it does taste dry. Because, like other ciders say they're dry and they cram it with sugars and sweeteners, and all you can really taste is the sugar and sweeteners. Admittedly, you can still taste it in this glass, but it's actually not as prevalent as some of the other industrially made ciders out there. Let's go and get in a second opinion. Yeah, as I say, you can still taste the sugars and sweeteners in it. There's also a very tinny, metallic undertone to everything that just kind of puts you off it. It still tastes kind of pissy too. I'm not gonna lie. It's really, it's about as subpar of a cider as you can get, and I'm not really surprised, to be honest. I mean, this is just so mass-produced that, you know, you don't really expect anything from it, and so obviously they don't give you anything at all, like in taste or in texture. Obviously it's left me with a really, really gummy after, you know, like texture at the back of the throat, obviously from the sugars and sweeteners that they've added to it. But it's actually left the rest of my mouth feeling really, really parched, which obviously means I've got to go in for another sip to try and just keep my mouth refreshed all the time. I'd love to know what apples, if any, have actually gone into this, because they're certainly not apples that I've ever tasted before. I can easily see why this is, you know, the nation's favourite cider, because it is just so readily available. I mean, they've always got ad campaigns on the TV and everything advertising it, and the fact that you can pretty much get it in any sort of format at all, you can easily just see why people go up to it and go, hey, you know what, I'm going to try cider, let's do Strongbow, and then they're put off for the rest of their life. But, you know, everyone's got to start somewhere. With me, it was Magners. Magners was the first cider I ever had, and then I went on to Strongbow and I thought, oh, I don't actually like that, which is the God's honest truth. And I still stick by that claim. But, yeah, it's just got, I will say it has got a unique sort of taste, because no other cider really does taste like it, but it's really, really not that good of a cider, guys. Ugh. It's actually getting worse as I'm drinking it. Yeah, it's just, it's that tinny undertone that just really puts you off having another sip. If it didn't have that undertone to it, it would be kind of bearable, but as it is, I don't really want to drink any more of it, actually. But you know what, I will. There's just a real, just almost like sharpness to it as well, and it's not a good sort of sharp like you get with really astringent dry ciders. It's just, they just kind of amalgamate and make you not actually want to finish off this can. Obviously, loads of, you know, and I'm not trying to cause offence to anyone here that, you know, lives on Strongbow, but all I'm really saying to you guys that, you know, have been drinking Strongbow all your life is, do yourself a favour and just, you know, spend that extra 20 or 30p and get a decent cider. You know, broaden your horizons a bit. I mean, you know, I can see, as I say, why so many people drink Strongbow, because of, you know, the ad campaigns and everything, and because it's so readily available. But seriously, guys, do yourself a favour, spend those extra few pence and get, you know, a decent cider, you know, like Henry Weston's or Thatcher's. They're usually quite available in the supermarkets, and they're only like 30 or 40p more than getting, you know, a can or a bottle of Strongbow, and they are so much better tasting. And if you've tried Strongbow and you've been put off ciders for life, please, I also urge you to go out and try some of these other ciders, especially the ones that I reviewed, because you are missing out on so much. And, well, admittedly, this does its job better than some other ciders I've tried, but it's still really not that good of a cider. So, I will get a final taste before I give the final verdict. Ugh, I'm actually shuddering at the taste of this. Ugh. Yeah, I personally, I don't like Strongbow, and you know, I've tried to like it, I've tried, you know, and I can see why loads of people do, but as I say, please just try a couple of other ones, because you're missing out on so much. But anyway, even Bulmers, you know, HP Bulmer, the guys that make Strongbow, they do a lot better tasting ciders out there than Strongbow. So seriously, guys, even if you live on Strongbow, get something else, because, you know, you're not doing yourself any favours really having this. Anyway, for a final verdict, Strongbow gets a 3 out of 10 from me. As I say, it does its job better than some other ciders out there, but there are just so many better ones out there. Well, there we go. I've done it. I've reviewed the behemoth that is HP Bulmer's Strongbow. I didn't personally like it. I know loads of you guys do, but as I say, just expand a little bit. That's all I'm saying. So, until next time, I will be back with another delicious and hopefully tasty cider for you. But until then, You know what? Because I am the cider drinker, I am going to finish this glass of Strongbow, as much as it pains me. Take care, guys. Until next time.